morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm going to cut to the chase on this one. This is not a analyzation video. This is not even a highlight video. This is more or less just a video that helps me drive a point that I feel is really not understood nowadays. And that's the difference between those who wish to improve and those who simply want to suddenly, amazingly, through whatever means, be it via random video they watched on YouTube, some tweet, some magical book, I don't know, some coin they shoved up their ass, but they simply want to be good. Wanting to improve, that's useful, that's great. And if you give me the length of this video, I guarantee you I will help you at least better understand the difference between you wanting to improve and being willing to do the things necessary to do it, or you simply wanting to magically be good at the game, in which case, if you already understand that about yourself, well, this video is going to be pretty much useless to you, and you can kind of ixnay out of it now, I suppose. Anyway, for those of you who actually want to improve, this conversation may help you. A few things in this video may also help you, but for the most part, stick around if you value the words of somebody who's oh so hard on themselves in so many different games for the last 20 years of his gaming life. Anyway, with that in mind, let's get started. So, the questions. 3 questions I feel are very key to ask yourself when you're trying to find out if you're a I want to improve person or a I want to magically be good person. Someone who wants to improve first has to say to themselves, am I actually any good at this? Do I see myself improving? Do I know if I can improve? Or am I simply having fun with the game, which is perfectly fine. Oh, excuse me. Something is going wrong with the follow. The gameplay option is... well, everything seems to be bugged, frankly. Anyway, put up with me while I fix this. There we go. Oh, okay, I hadn't jumped yet, so it couldn't follow. Anyway. So, 3 questions, right? 1, am I someone who wants to actually improve, or am I just someone who's having fun with the game? If you're one of the people that's just having fun with the game, by all means, continue to just have fun. That's what games are actually meant for. But if you're someone that has to improve, you have to ask yourself if you're the kind of person who can look at their gameplay, look at themselves, and actually say, I am not doing very good. I am not doing very well, and I'm not playing very well. So, what can I do to change that? Okay, so I suppose you could say acceptance is what this is. You're accepting that you're not overall very talented at the game. This is something that I have accepted long ago when it came to Fortnite. I know the difference between me and High Distortion. I know the difference between me and Ninja. I know the difference between me and insert top player here. And no, it's not their streaming capabilities or their memes or anything to do with memes or anything to do with building. It's really comes down to amount of time spent. Fortnite is a multifaceted game. It has so many aspects of every situation, and none of it can be wrapped up in a simple, hey, how do I get better at this? Goodness knows, we've all heard that 456 times in the stream. The problem is you're asking the wrong question, and streamers, quite commonly, any one of them will tell you the same thing, are going to be incapable of giving you the answer you really want. They can give you an answer that is, in a really short way, going to be exactly what I say throughout this video. But they are, for the most part, still going to give you an answer that doesn't help you feel, because you're not actually listening to what they're saying. Anyway, so let's break down a few of those questions really quick. So, question 1. How do I get better at building? Well, for starters, you get wood, and you build. You get a lot of wood, and you start building in many ways, in many different situations that you could possibly imagine. And depending on if you fail or lose the high ground, or if you mess up on the angling or the positioning, or if you just plain mess up in placing it and fall, well, at least now you know what area to attack, don't you? I can't build, and there's nothing anyone else could say to you that's going to make you magically know where to place it, how to place it, how quickly to place it. No words are going to make your hands faster and better at doing what's necessary. it got very loud, so I decided to let this fight transpire. Now, I could analyze this fight, tell you what I did wrong, but I believe it's pretty frank. I switched targets as I jumped over the wood, was shooting on the one on the left, should have focused on the one on the right, got clapped by the one on the right after I didn't down him. So I switched targets and messed up. Anyway, like I said, not an analyzation video, so don't worry about it. Anyway, you, as a player, have to be able to say, I am not attacking my problem right now. And so many people don't actually want to attack their problem, but instead they keep asking this, asking that, hoping to one day hear this magical sentence that will make their hand suddenly be capable of doing what is necessary in every situation. It's never going to happen. The reason that it's so difficult for any streamer, any professional, any level of player to try to tell another player what they did wrong is because the situation is always so different. There's no magical structure you can build that is an all-purpose tool for every situation and will always give you the high ground on every single player at every angle and every way. It's just not going to happen. You have to be ready to manipulate what you need to do. You need to be ready to understand what you need to manipulate about the situation to give yourself an advantage. And that's why it's not possible for someone else to really tell you what's going on. That's why I think it's so important. You'll notice, if you've watched any of my previous videos, that I call them self-analyzation videos. That's because I'm doing them for me. I say things and I explain what I did wrong in every single fight and engagement because every fight's different. No video can specifically say, hey, this is exactly how you push these people in this situation. Now, I am not trying to start any fights or point any fingers, but I am going to use a very popular streamer as a decent example for what I mean. That is CypherPK. Anyone can be angry at me for saying something against him, and I love CypherPK. I think he's a great guy. He's a Texan. He's a fellow Texan. Alright, I'm a Texan. Houstonian, born and raised. But the thing is, his videos, however, perfectly fine and very good for those who are really trying to get the ground grip. Sorry, the ground understanding of this game. It's very good for you. It really is. And sometimes he has some really good points, but all in all, his videos won't help you understand what you should be doing when the situation is not exactly what he's showing in the video. You know? So okay, he pushes somebody, he ramps up, they lose the high ground, fall down, and then he looks down and shoots them. Well, that's great. That person kept complete control. And he has plenty of videos where he loses the high ground, and then he tries to explain to you how you should regain the high ground. But what if the person decided to build beyond your materials? What if the person was behind a tree that stopped you from being able to fight back up for the high ground? What if the person had a teammate shooting you from the right, the left, the center, the back? What if somebody that wasn't even on his team was shooting you from a high ground, shooting you from a tree? What if a bird flew by and took a shit on your scope and blocked your sight with it? None of these kind of videos are really going to tell you about that because they can't. Cypher's trying to help people as much as he can by giving you as much general information. Sorry, this is very loud. Anyway, I'll see how that's tumbling out when I edit the video. Hopefully, you can still hear me quite clearly, even though the combat is rather loud. Anyway, I'm going to turn it on for my own personal sake, and I'm going to continue speaking. Hopefully, you can hear me clearly. If you cannot hear me during the firefights, I apologize in advance. I will watch this video myself and know for next time that you cannot hear me over the combat, so that's my bad. Anyway, Cypher is trying to give you as much general information and as many base building blocks as he can. He's trying to help people as much as he can. His videos really do give you the tools to look at a situation and see how you could apply them. But it's up to you to develop on them. It's up to you to expand on them, if you will. You have to be able to say, okay, I know Cypher said build to get higher ground, but there's this tree in my way. maybe I should build out to the left, build out to the right, or maybe I should just concede this, use the tree itself to LOS my opponent, and reposition. Perhaps I should jump pad out of it. Maybe I should just forego the situation because of the tree's interference. This is a situation I've been in before. It's a situation I'm sure you'll end up in. It's just a situation. Anyway, this is just one of thousands variations on combat that you cannot be explained to. They cannot explain to you no matter how hard they try. You need to understand that every situation is different. And also understand that the moment you will find yourself automatically improving vastly. Because it's just a thing of your own personal experience. Stop asking someone to tell you exactly what to do in every situation. Throw yourself into the lion's den. You know? Throw yourself into the worst situations possible. And do your damnedest to come out on top. Why? Because that's all it is. That's all it is. Like, for instance, this fight, I really wasn't paying attention to it, but this fight was a mess. Unfortunately, they downed my teammate. There's 4 of them. They had me surrounded. I wasn't in a good high ground position. I had to buy time for myself to just kind of end up in a better position by them moving around me. I couldn't build up. There were too many people above me. And there were people below me. And all I could work with was the chaos, really. Work with chaos. It's very important to do that, you know? Let the situation develop in a manner that you suddenly end up at an advantage by doing practically nothing. This itself is a tactic. Now, one could say it's the working chaos theory ending up in your favor, but I think that's a little too complicated for what we're saying here. It's actually it's far too complicated. All this is allowing your opponents to confuse themselves. They lost track of me. And the first 2 did a poor job communicating where I went and how I got there. And because of that, the final member of their team that wasn't present when the other 3 were not, was completely clueless about where I was and lost 90% of his HP without even knowing where the shot came from. So, all in all, this comes back to, you know, subjects we're not going to touch on too much here, like team communication, organization, and coordination. But, like I said, let's not bother with that right now. Let's go back to our 3 questions. So, we've spent 5 or so minutes talking about the first question. Well, let's move on to the second one. How do I actually improve if I myself don't possess the skills that are necessary? How do I figure out what those skills are? Where do I get them? What do I do if I don't know what skills I need to develop on? Good question. And that is where we come back to the utility of watching streamers and videos and all kinds of things. That is where we find out so much about ourselves. So, everything comes down to what your opponents allow you to do. This is about to get messy, but you'll see what I mean. Let's just watch this, and then I'll talk about what the hell happened. So, you remember that working chaos theory we were talking about? What happened to that team? They had me out in the open. They had me being shot from 3 different angles. Sure, 2 of them were complete potatoes, but what ended up actually happening? I'm going to pause here for a moment, just to develop on this a little bit. So, what happened? Do you know? Do I know? Not really. I'm not going to act like I know what happened in that fight. It was complete chaos, and reflex and adrenaline kicked in, and I did what I could. I blocked off who I could with walls. I jumped back. I jumped away. I said 3 Hail Marys and shot somebody in the head. Like, this is what I mean. That situation, nobody could tell you what to have done there because there's no exact science to it. It's reflex and you knowing what you can do, what's a possibility, what gives me the best chance. You're playing the numbers, and what gives me the best chance? Blocking off certain people's shots with walls, throwing up as much as I can to interfere with this trifecta of fire that's coming at me from multiple directions, throw up as many things as I can, and land my shots as quickly and cleanly as I possibly can. I just need to drop them. And then when it came to the final guy, after losing high ground to him, in a way, twice, he simply lost track of me. He heard shooting, his attention span is that of a mosquito, and he started looking the other direction, built some very strange high ground, and actually let me completely sneak up on him. How he did that, I don't know. You should hear somebody coming up your own ramp quite easily. And the angle I came from, all he had to do was turn around, wall, stairs, and he would add high ground on me to get a shot on me as I came up trying to build him with stairs in, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things that could have happened there. But the point is, he made a mistake and just lost track of me and got distracted by something else. This is just chaos. There was nothing that I did there that was particularly impressive or amazing. I just did as many random things that I knew would help give me a chance at surviving this as I could. There was too much fire to just try and build. 3 people with scars shooting at you from 3 angles are not gonna let you build a friggin' leaning tower of Pisa, okay? Everyone's always like, just build. Build counters everything. Well, what happens when you have 3 people with 800 rounds spraying your walls down the instant they come up, and you only got like 600 wood? I mean, do you really think that mathematically this ends up being in your favor in the end? Oh, it really, really won't. Anyway, let's get the game rolling. I don't believe this game lasts much longer, but with that in mind, we're going to move on to the third question. The third question, for me personally, has always been, do I have the sheer determination to put in the time that is necessary to do this? To get better, to improve? Do I want to go in and just say, hey, I'm going to watch every person I can. I'm going to watch every streamer, and I'm going to look exactly at what they do. I'm going to absorb everything I can, and I'm going to try to apply it. Which is all you can really do. You've got to just try and apply it. You're not going to actually end up with this perfect understanding of the world. You just end up in a good place to start learning. So, one thing that I think is very important, and one person I can suggest that you go to try to learn these things, these are almost just basic, very basic things that are applied very well. And that's TSM Dakotas. Dakotas is a great shot, but you know what he also is? He's just a great adapter. Distortion. TSM Distortion. I know a lot of TSM, but let's face it, TSM has some amazing players, and there's a lot you can learn. Anyway, so, if you go to either of these players, you'll see adaptation in one of its finest forms. They are very good in very chaotic situations. Distortion is a builder of epic proportions that can throw himself into a lion's den and end up coming out on top because, frankly, he's abstract. He doesn't just do 1x1s, 2x2s. He doesn't just ramp up, left ramp, double ramp this, ramp that. He is very good at hit and run. Another good hit and run player is Nick Merckx. Very good hit and run. The game is more than just the building and just the shotguns. You can win a fight by simply taking a shot and then vanishing. There's nothing wrong with hurting someone and immediately retreating before they're able to pinpoint where you are. And some people, let's say lower-ish level players, take that to a bit of an extreme. They instead, let's move on to another video. Sorry, I don't want you to just have to stare at nothing this entire time. But let's move on to another video, and I'll just have that rolling while you listen to me rant, frankly. But anyway, these are very good hit-and-run players that adapt to any situation just because they're capable of it. They're used to Distortion, I can say, being a fellow Gears player from pretty much the same time he was a professional for years, is used to having to adapt to what's going on because Gears of War 1, which was, of course, the best Gears, had a very wild nature to it when it came to the shotgun fights. People's movement, people's decisions. Gears of War was a game of decisions, reflex, quick aim, and understanding of the game's mechanics, frankly, but whole different game, let's not talk about it. But anyway, so if you take those two players and you take 30 minutes of their game footage, you'll see building, of course. You'll see plenty of building. You'll see them building in the ways you're used to. You'll see them doing the things you're used to. But put them in a situation that's outside the norm, right? Put them in a situation that isn't so cookie cutter, if you will. And what you'll see is them start to actually shine. You'll see this wild hit and run guerrilla tactic side come out of them. And they use it in an incredibly funny way to me sometimes. Because what it ends up doing is even decent players end up looking incredibly foolish because they're so absolutely dumbfounded by the fact that someone's playing like this. We're so caught up in the build high ground, keep building, up, must get higher. We're so caught up in that. Oh dear. What's happened? I believe our replay has frozen somehow. Oh, what's going on? There we go, I think. Oh, this must be something to do with the replay region. My apologies. Not used to replay region and all that. Anyway, move on. Sorry. Let's get this going. Okay, so anyway. They're so dumbfounded by that because we're so caught up in what I consider cookie cutter situations. Build up, give the high ground, keep the high ground, keep fighting for high ground until the guy takes a bad ramp route and ends up getting shot in the head with a shotgun. Grims is someone who I think, I'm not going to speak for someone else, but I think, he has this general kind of distaste for the game because not that he doesn't like it, it's just that he seems to accept the fact that the game is so primarily about shotguns and building, and shotguns are very, very strong, and it's something he stated before. Shotguns are very, very strong in the game, and he thinks that they could maybe use a bit of a tilt, or a change, a tweak, if you will. Sorry. Anyway, all that aside, you need to understand about this. This is you need to understand exactly this. Sorry, not even about this. You need to understand exactly this. You are not tied to this game's meta of playing. Throw some personality in there. Throw some, frankly, will. Free will. Do something that works. Try something, and find out if it works. And play like that. You don't have to be so completely concentrated on how someone else does something. Develop the skills that will help you in multiple situations. Develop the ability to build. Develop the ability to edit. Good shotgun, good AR aim, good situational awareness. Yes. And now use them. Use them exactly how you want to. Don't just look for the game to be as simple as 1, 2, 3 plus 4 equal kill. Don't look for it to just be this very straightforward, do exactly this every time and you will come out on top thing. Just play. Be comfortable playing. The more comfortable you are, the better you'll end up situations breaking down for you. So many people play this game half scared the entire game. They're crouch walking around, hiding behind trees, hiding in buildings, hiding in this. They're scared of everything. Why? Why are you so afraid to walk outside? Because you lack confidence in your ability to play? Okay, that's fine. But you're not going to build any hiding in that building. You're not going to build any hiding behind that rock. You're not going to build any sitting on that building for 2 hours. It's not going to get you anywhere. You may get a kill or two. You may get the jump on some guy. Hell, you might even win a game or two. But it wouldn't have improved you, not as a player. And that... actually, I am so sorry. I just realized that this game is from one of my previous videos, I believe. I am so sorry. Yeah, we'll move on from this. Once I absolutely mentally confirm, yes, this is from one of my previous videos. I am so sorry for that. I might edit this out. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna edit this out. So I'm just gonna apologize for that. We'll move on to something else. Anyway, feel free to be free. I guess as silly as that sounds, it's still right. I feel free to be free. Working with the skills you have and applying them in so many different ways is what actually gets you to improve as a player. It's not about just knowing this exact method to every situation. It never will be. Accept that. Move with it, work with it, and learn from it. Put yourself in as many different situations as possible. You shouldn't be happy when you you see a guy and you run up on him and you build a ramp up, he doesn't even really build that well, falls off, you look down and you shoot him in the head. It's like, yay, I killed the guy, I'm so good. No. It pulled nothing from you. It didn't pull on your skills. It didn't pull on your talents. You don't want such a simple kill. You want somebody to try to make you think. You want the situation to be so abstract and weird that you really had to try to figure out what the heck you could do. If I find myself fighting 4 people and all I have to do is keep throwing up a ramp to get higher and higher and then box myself in, and then like fish in a barrel, they just kind of circle around me trying to build up to me and I just keep shooting down on them, sure, it works and it's great, but honestly, that's a failing on that team's part. There's so many things they could have done on their end. They don't even have to worry about my high ground. Multiple opponents against one? The biggest advantage you have is the fact that someone shouldn't be able to build against you. If you have 2 to 3 people trying to, like, kill one target, he can't build against you. He can't. If you allow him to, that's your fault. But there is no way he can stop all 4 of you from just annihilating his structure. If you let him build high ground on you, and he takes out all of you one by one while you're trying to build up to him, you were like mice in a maze. You played right into the trap, you know? You don't have to try to chase someone up their high ground. Be okay with the fact that you said, this guy just built way too high above me. I can't get up to him without getting shot first. Because no matter how hard you try, I know someone would argue this to the death. No matter how hard you try against a strong player, unless you have some incredible window where they're trying to heal, or they're trying to use a shield, or something like that, you should not be able to build up to them no matter how fast you are without risking life. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna take a hit. Because if you pay attention, you'll notice when somebody's above you and you're trying to build to catch up to them and they're really high above you, you can't tell where they are, where they're looking. So you have to take a gamble, really. You take a gamble on trying to figure out what angle they're looking at currently, and then building in an area they don't have a clean shot on. But because you can't exactly tell where they are up there, you have to take a risk. And we're trying to minimize risk, right? Risk gets us killed. Anyway, so with all that in mind, you go at the situation and you say, he's too high above me. I can't get up there without taking a serious amount of damage. So maybe I should box myself in and edit down. You know, edit the floor from under me. Catch myself with the floor if possible. Do something to get to the ground floor to where perhaps I can use an explosive or even my gun to simply take the structure out. Maybe I should just concede this fight and get a better angle. Get to the ground floor and start building a roof above you, just branching out, going out away from this whole monolith to death. Get yourself away. Get your ass to Mars. No, sorry. Anyone who gets that reference, good for you. But if you didn't, oh well. You can get away from the fight. There's nothing wrong with a tactical retreat. Who cares if someone calls you a coward, a pussy, a little bitch? Doesn't matter. You got out alive. And you got yourself out of a situation where you had a 70% chance to die, reduced it to like a 30 or 40% chance to die because, you know, you're using the build to get yourself out of there while using cover to get to whatever area you want to, and this produces a better angle. it changes the fight completely, and sometimes just completely disengages the fight altogether. And maybe I'll make a video about trying to do specifically that. Purposely lose high ground, and then simply retreating using wood to cover your retreat so you're not just running across the field, throwing up walls, but actually putting a ceiling above yourself, branching off from the initial structure. Maybe I'll do a video about that. But this is just one tactic you could use to get out of there. And I think that so many people have become so caught up in the idea of, I lost high ground, I must get back high ground. Even I had, been kind of constricted to this thinking for a long time. And what I've come to realize is sometimes trying to get back that high ground is actually the exact same thing that gets you killed. And that's just a doggone shame to me. But I digress. The whole point of this video is for me to try to open up your thinking. If you've made it this far and you haven't gone completely insane, well, thank you. Maybe you're one of the few people that also enjoys when somebody just takes a real look at the game, stops trying to appeal to the masses by saying a bunch of trigger words and a bunch of meme spouting bullshit, but someone who actually just sits down and talks about what it is they think's going on with the game, and what they think can be done better, and what they think you can do better for yourself as a player and a person in some cases. This is me just kind of taking a step back. A lot of things have dawned on me recently when it comes to Fortnite, when it comes to competitive game. With the giant burst increase in competitive Fortnite, I think that there's going to be a lot of players that try to maybe take a swing at it, jump into these tournaments, jump into these solo tournaments, jump into these team tournaments, and just maybe it'll spark a need or a want for them to improve vastly and quickly. Now, I put the grenade launcher down there because I just wasn't in the mood for it. But anyway, maybe it'll trigger that, and maybe, just maybe, you'll start thinking like this, hopefully. But sadly, I know, I want to roughly say 90% of this game's community will never think like this. They want you to sit down and in a few sentences tell them what they're doing wrong with themselves, their life, their love life, their sex life, Fortnite, Gears of War, Hearthstone. They want you to wrap it all up in about 3 sentences, and from these 3 sentences, they want to magically know exactly what they've been doing wrong and how to fix it, and then just come out the other side as good as Ninja and Distortion and Myth and Dakotas and Daquan and Hamlin. They just want to come out on the other side, Ethnics, and just be amazing. But it will never happen. And sadly, I guess in a depressing matter, that's something you might have to accept. You're not going to be as good as these guys. You lack their years of experience. You lack their sheer determination, drive, will, raw skill. I hate to sound like that kind of guy that, says something about like being born in a talent, because nobody's born into it. Sure, there are people that are born with good genetics that help them excel in one field or the other, but at the end of the day, they still primarily have to practice. Practice, 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 practice. That is your tool. That is your weapon. Practice is an infinite resource. You can do it as much as you want and have time for, I guess. But if you're not constricted to time, practice. Never stop practicing. As much as you... What am I doing? I don't know. Anyway, as much as you want to... set the bar for yourself. How good do I want to be? And if you can look at it and say, about this good. Use somebody else as a benchmark. I want to be as good as this guy. And whether that guy is a mediocre player, a decent player, or a complete potato, or a god. Just start playing until you find yourself performing as well as he does. And if that's where you want to stop, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Anyway, so I mostly talked about what I wanted to. I apologize if there's a subject I brought up. I knew this was going to be a rant. I specifically didn't really construct my thoughts or put this into any kind of guideline basis or structure, because I wanted to just kind of let it free flow. And I wanted to just, be my thoughts really raw, if you will. Because the more structure I gave it, the more I feel like it would turn into me trying to point out exactly what's going wrong with like the community of the game and all this other stuff. I just wanted to speak very like, like I said, just from the heart. And if it seemed chaotic and completely without form, that was both my intention. And I will apologize to those that didn't like this. But if you did, and if you appreciated, my thoughts and everything like that, thank you. But from this point on, I'll speak about this game a bit, I guess, and interject a few more thoughts as they come to mind. This is a solo squad game, which I think is rather useful for quite a few people if they play solo squad. It frankly can be very liberating, to fight so many people and, see yourself both outplaying and outsmarting who you go up against, no matter how their numbers, just using everything that you've learned about this game to come out on top against multiple people. A lot can come from that. Sorry, I'm just walking around, so I'm speaking with some things. My goodness, we went a long time without having to do a whole lot, didn't we? I don't think I've killed a single soul, have I? I can't tell. These little things are very funky. Oh, there, I killed someone there, and a few more people are gonna die pretty soon. Hey. I know what I can draw from this game, because now it's starting to come back to me. Let's go back to that whole working with chaos thing. So, solo squads, if you're good enough to just run up on a team of 4 people and just outbuild and outshoot all of them, that's cool. But most of the time, against like strong players or even decent players, I don't think it should be particularly possible. Let's not look at what can happen, let's look at what should happen, right? You never want to look at a situation and say, hey, that guy just ran straight at them, built a 1x1 ramp, jumped over into their team, and gunned them all down with a shotgun. Okay, it may have worked, but it shouldn't have. It really shouldn't have. No one player should be able to just run up on an entire squad and without an extreme element of surprise and weapon advantage, such as a weapon that'll one-shot down one of them, at least invoking some form of chaos amongst them, perhaps confusion on where it came from, or an RPG that does, well, out and out kills someone or downs them at the very least. It shouldn't happen. If you just got like a core kit of an AR and a shotgun, some shields, and maybe a frag or two, 4 people should be able to gather themselves, even when ambushed, to take you down. If they didn't, they probably weren't very good. So, working with chaos, and what is our advantage? So what's our advantage right now? They don't know anything. They're looking at somebody else, and they, for all intents and purposes, don't actually know if I'm alone. If I'm alone, if I have explosives, what am I doing? Now, them currently standing there just decided to post up because they don't know how many people are there. So they held their ground. And that's smart. You can't always say there's no way that one guy is just gonna start a AR fight with 4 people. And they're right, that's pretty stupid of me. I didn't do anything special with that situation. I mostly just took some shots at one because he held completely still, and I knew this was my chance to take as much damage on him as I could. So, this is what I mean. This is one of the things I was talking about earlier. Run. Run. I'm getting shot in the back, I'm getting shot from the left. There's that team that I made completely aware of me, and I can't do anything with this situation anymore. There is no feasible way I'm going to take shots at the 4 people that are shielded up, posted up, in towers with explosives, while someone takes sniper shots at my back and chunks away at my life and get away with it. It's not happening. So we retreat. We know we got shot at from someone behind, so we do just that. We turn around and we go to try to see if we can take out the looming threat of someone behind us. Now, unfortunately, that team that we engaged earlier are once again behind us. So we're constantly getting shot at from a different angle, so we're in a really bad spot. This team has noticed me only because I feel that, like, the guys that were shooting at me over there were taking shots at me, and they look down like, hey, what's that? And suddenly I'm in an even worse spot than I was a while ago, because I'm within a dangerous range of that team while also getting shot at by that team. by the other team that's now behind me again. But that's okay. One player overextended greatly, got himself killed, so we at least have something, right? We have one of their team down. So we relaxed. We took a moment, we shielded up, and frankly, one of them just got plain loony and like jump padded in towards an entire team. So we know now it's a 2v1 with this team. There are 2 players standing from there. So that's okay. Let's try to see if we can maybe go deal with them. Now, I saw 2 players over there. I think in this moment, I was thinking, oh hey, there's 2 players over here, so that must be 2 parts of their team, and maybe the rest of their team with them. Not realizing that that guy went with his teammate over there, and their 2 teammates are actually back there with a jump pad, where this team is completely split itself up. There are 2 groups of 2 on like the opposite ends of each other. Actually, I have no idea what's going on. I apologize. But anyway, it got a little weird. I don't know if this is perhaps not their teammate that's over here, but I do know that all of this has gotten very strange. Anyway. Pretty bad situation, frankly. We're just trying to stay low. Now, see, this guy, for whatever reason, he just... for no reason. You know? And another thing that I find so strange about people. If you unload your entire clip trying to kill someone's walls, what are you going to shoot them with once you actually got the wall down? You know, people do that all the time. You can kill the wall with your AR, quickly place a wall to replace it, and then edit it and kill someone. Yeah, that's fine. But someone who doesn't even attempt to place the wall or the floor or whatever piece you need to basically cut off from your opponent placing, if you don't do that, you're emptying your weapons to kill the wall, giving that player that's trapped clean shots on you. And I don't think that's going to work out very well. So, also, remember what I said about needing an advantage? Explosives are an advantage. RPGs are an advantage. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to use an RPG. I want the challenge of, you know, fighting completely honestly and not having any particular advantage. I just want to fight from the ground up. This is working with chaos, and I have an RPG. What can go wrong, right? Here's the thing. That was a team fight that I just kind of showed up to. Nobody even knows who or what I am. They just know out of nowhere RPGs are flying, people are dying, and they're crying. And I'm not really sure what to say about them other than they're all potatoes. All of them. And oh well. But we saw the team that was rushing them from the left side of the mountain. We saw the team that was already posted up here kind of putting shots on them. And we saw that nobody was looking even our general direction. We got an RPG, we got the chaos element working for us, and we also have a whole lot of monkeys just sitting on top of a hill, missing and crying and fail building. And so why not just show up to the party with an explosive and blow it all to hell? Let's just do that. Why not? Eliminate a few of the problems we're going to have in this match, right? Because there's going to be a lot of problems. So, that team right there, I feel like they've been slowly advancing behind me for the longest, but because they do this whole 7x7, 8-layer, 3-fort fuckboy statue, and they sit in it for 20 minutes, they weren't even able to, you know, press up or do anything with the fact that there's one man on this hill. They're just sitting there. Now you heard all that shooting and all those explosions, and he just sat there. You know, they just sat there. They didn't try to go get to it, get to the fight, get some shots on it. And look how much damage they're taking just from random RPGs. I just have a lot of RPGs, so I'm just throwing some things, see if I can get some random damage in, make them burn a few resources on healing and such. It works out, I guess. I didn't know it did at the time. I was just throwing the RPGs because I had them. Anyway, so we know we're not going to do much from the high ground here, right? We can sit here for an hour, but at the end of the day, I have no way of killing 4 people in a 4v1 fight, so I retreated from the high ground. Now, really, I was heading for the safe. I was heading for the safe because I wanted to perhaps get in position and have them, with the storm at their back, pressing them all in. That would be my advantage. Instead, I hear a mass team fight break out. Okay, like a vulture, I'm sorry, but like a vulture, because this is rather vulture-ish, I just swoop in. I hear the sounds of chaos, and I'm just like, I can work with this. As I was running towards this fight, my brain was saying, probably going to win this, because these are the last two teams engaging. You've got an RPG with 40 shots, and none of them know you're coming. So it's probably going to come down to maybe a 3v1, something like that. Something I had a thorough amount of confidence in handling. I show up, they've managed to knock like both teams have knocked 3 members of the other team, and so it's just down to me and this guy. Now, I don't think I was aware that his teammate was down. That was an accident. That was not on purpose. I did not put that up to block that guy's name, make it bounce off with the lip of my structure. This was a total accident. It was from an earlier edit in a team fight. I had yet to reset it, and it just happened to work out. Anyway, the guy didn't notice quick enough that I was actually taking out like the base of his structure and trying to put him low. He didn't really seem to care, I guess, and now he's just fighting from like the ground with absolutely nothing working for him, and just gets RPG spammed down. RPGs are incredibly strong. Grenade launchers are stronger. Grenade launchers are so much stronger. Don't get me wrong. Grenade launchers are incredibly dumb. But those are for reasons that I'd have to talk about later. Anyway, I hope this overly complicated and convoluted and messy and rampage-like rant has been helpful to anybody. But all I really want you to take away from this video, let's say you skipped all the way to the end here, TLDR, right? Let's just say this. All I want you to do is stop looking for someone else to improve you. You improve you. You're all you've got. You're all you need. You look around you. Look at everyone else that's doing things better than you. And just absorb everything from everyone like a sponge. Look at what works for them. Take some aspects from that. Take some tips from Distortion. Take some things from Ninja. Take some things from Dakota. Take some things from Ethnics. Take some things from Daquan. Take all of these wonderful little skills and just add them to your repertoire. It's not going to make you the perfect soldier. Nothing ever will. But it will give you a wonderful amount of skills to pull on and manipulate to fit the situation. That's all we're trying to do, right? We're just trying to be as flexible as we can. No situations beyond us, no situations below us. Take everything in the way you think it should be done in the heat of the moment. Make the best decisions based on the knowledge you possess about the current situation. That's all we're ever going to be doing. And the bigger pool of skills you have to use, the more vast and flexible your options are in every way. Stop looking for cookie cutter answers. Stop looking for the exact method on which to build this or build that to get it done. Every situation in a PvP BR game is going to be different from the other. Maybe a person's a better shot. Maybe a person's a faster builder. Who knows? But if you've got a wider variety of skills than the person you're up against, you most likely are going to have a wider variety of options and things you can do in the situation to come out on top. And just remember that. Stop asking someone else to help you. You help you. Anyway, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And I hope this helps somebody. Bye.